to opportune himself. That big left hand. Oh, and that was a left from the... In terms of softening him up, there it is, it's the left hand!
One punch is all it takes for Roberto Robocop Soldic to turn the lights off for his opponents. Want to know why he's called MMA's nuclear knockout machine? Get ready to see how his insane power and strategy have made him one of the most feared fighters in the sport. Born in Bosnia in the mid-1990s, Roberto Soldic grew up in a world that was tough. The mid-90s were a volatile time in the Balkans, and the environment shaped Soldic's fighting spirit early on. Growing up in a Croatian family, Soldic learned resilience, and it was clear from the start that he wasn't going to shy away from a fight. His first love wasn't even MMA, it was judo. Judo, the art of throwing and grappling, was where Roberto first found his love for combat sports. He competed in judo for many years and showed early signs of discipline and focus. However, everything changed when he saw the legendary Mirko Crocop, the Croatian kickboxing phenom and MMA icon, do his thing in the ring. Crocop's head kicks were a revelation to Roberto. The raw power and precision of those strikes inspired him to focus on striking-based martial arts, particularly kickboxing and MMA. After that moment, MMA became Roberto's true calling. The world of judo took a back seat as he entered the chaotic world of striking and mixed martial arts. However, the road wasn't all smooth. Soldic faced a big test early in his MMA career. A low blow during one of his early fights could have derailed everything. Most fighters would have crumbled under the pain and disappointment, but not Roberto. Instead, he came back even stronger, tweaking his style to become the fighter we know today. Precise, brutal, and calculated. Robocop. From struggling to the spotlight. Roberto Soldic didn't earn his nickname Robocop for no reason. The nickname reflects his calm, machine-like nature in the cage. Nothing rattles him. He's cold, calculated, and relentless in his pursuit of victory, and he finishes fights in the most devastating way possible. His approach to fighting is like a machine with one purpose: knockout power. Soldic made his debut in MMA in 2014, and from the get-go, it was clear he had something special. His technical striking, solid defense against takedowns, and ability to finish fights quickly caught the attention of those watching. But what really made him stand out was his aggression combined with strategy. He wasn't just about wild brawling. He was a strategist who used timing, precision, and power to break down his opponents. One of his signature moves that became a trademark was the southpaw double attack. Soldic uses his rear leg to deliver a powerful kick, often to the body, followed by a left cross, a combination that left his opponents on the canvas in a hurry. His striking was sharp, and his speed was unmatched. It wasn't just about being strong, it was about being smart and executing with deadly efficiency. After moving to a top-tier gym in Germany, Roberto's game improved even further. Here, he started incorporating boxing into his MMA style. In fact, within 1 year, Soldic scored 4 knockouts in 4 fights, showing that his power translated seamlessly into boxing. He was quickly becoming a complete fighter with the right mix of power, technique, and fight IQ. The MMA world begins to take notice. Soldic's journey to stardom didn't take long. After making a name for himself with powerful knockouts and a brutal fighting style, he signed with KSW, Europe's premier MMA organization, in 2017. At just 22 years old, he already had a growing fan base, and the world was starting to take notice of the young Croatian fighter. His first major test came when he faced the tough Rafal Lawan in 2017. For the first round and a half, Soldic put on a striking clinic, punishing Lawan with relentless attacks. He showcased everything in his arsenal: his power punches, his speed, and his precision. Roberto moved in and out of range, picking apart Lawan's defense, and it wasn't long before the referee stepped in to stop the fight. Another knockout win for Soldic. By now, the MMA world was beginning to realize that Soldic was more than just a knockout artist. He was a complete fighter. His ability to mix up punches with kicks and his exceptional defense made him a nightmare for anyone facing him in the cage. And he was only getting better. KSW, Roberto's big break. In 2018, Roberto Robocop Soldic got his big break when he stepped in on short notice to fight for the KSW welterweight title. The reigning champion, Boris Manovsky, had been on a tear in KSW, and he was considered one of the toughest fighters in the promotion. Manovsky was known for his brutal finishing skills, but Roberto wasn't afraid. He came into the fight with his signature aggressive style, targeting Manovsky's body and head with relentless combinations. As the fight went on, it became clear that Manovsky was struggling to cope with Roberto's precision and power. Manovsky tried to use some wrestling and jiu-jitsu to slow the fight down, but Soldic had an answer for everything. At one point, he nearly finished Manovsky with a well-timed uppercut that rocked the champion. The tide had turned in Soldic's favor, and he continued to push the pace, throwing punches and kicks with calculated fury. The fight ended with Manovsky's corner throwing in the towel after seeing the damage their fighter had taken. Roberto Soldic was now the KSW welterweight champion, and his knockout power had earned him a place among the best. Learning from losses. The road to redemption. Despite his early success, Soldic's path was not without obstacles. In his second fight for the title, he faced a tough challenge from Dricus, a fighter with an impressive 11-1 record. Dricus was known for his solid wrestling and grappling, and it became clear early in the fight that Roberto would have his hands full. The first round was full of action, with both fighters exchanging blows. Dricus, however, managed to take Soldic down and control him for a short period, showing off his wrestling skills. In the second round, Soldic started to get wild with his strikes, throwing a few wild left hands that didn't set up well, which led to him getting caught by Dricus's counters. As the fight wore on, Soldic's fatigue started to show, and Dricus capitalized on the openings. Dricus won the fight, and it was a humbling experience for Soldic. However, it didn't break him. It only motivated him to improve. After reflecting on his loss, Soldic knew he had to be more patient in the cage. He couldn't rush his punches or get reckless. With this new mindset, he came into his next fight with a calm and controlled demeanor. The rematch with Dricus took place shortly after, and Roberto came out with a more refined approach. He avoided making the same mistakes, landing his signature left-hand punches and kicks with controlled precision. By the time the second fight with Dricus came to a close, it was clear that Roberto Soldic had learned from his mistakes. He stayed composed, controlled the fight from start to finish, and ultimately secured the win, avenging his earlier loss. From that point forward, he was a more confident and smarter fighter with even greater knockout power than before. Soldic's rise to dominance. The MMA world is watching. With his dominant performance in KSW and his growing knockout streak, it wasn't long before Soldic started to attract the attention of major MMA organizations, including the UFC. By now, he had accumulated a staggering 13 knockouts in his career, showing that he was a knockout machine capable of finishing anyone in the division. Soldic continued to defend his title successfully, finishing opponents left and right. He made his middleweight debut with the same fury that fans had come to expect. In his fight against Miquel Mattarella, Soldic showed that his power didn't just translate to the welterweight division, it carried over to the middleweight class as well. After a huge uppercut that sent Mattarella reeling, it was clear that Soldic was ready for the next level. He had been training with his childhood idol, Mirko Filipovic, and it was clear that his training had paid off. His knockout power, combined with his technical approach to striking, made him one of the most feared fighters in Europe. After beating Mattarella, it was clear that Soldic was on a mission to capture more titles, with the ultimate goal of becoming a double champion. The UFC opportunity and one championship move. In 2022, the UFC came knocking, but Soldic didn't jump at the opportunity. The financial terms weren't to his liking, and he made the bold decision to turn down the UFC's offer. Instead, he signed with One Championship, a rapidly growing MMA organization based in Asia. This move was strategic. He felt that One Championship would offer him better opportunities to showcase his skills on the world stage. His debut with One Championship didn't go as planned. He was unfortunately injured in his first fight, which led to a no-contest ruling. Despite the setback, Soldic remained determined. He's no stranger to adversity, and this loss just made him even more hungry for success. The future of Robocop. Even after all the setbacks and challenges, one thing is certain. Roberto Soldic is still one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. His knockout power is second to none, and his evolving game shows that he's not just about brute force, he's about precision, timing, and intelligence. As we look ahead, the future of Robocop looks incredibly bright. He's still young, with plenty of time to climb even higher in the MMA world. Whether he stays with one championship or eventually makes his way to the UFC, there's no denying that this knockout artist has the potential to be one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen. Roberto Soldic isn't just another fighter in the cage, he's a true knockout machine, a fighter who strikes fear into the hearts of his opponents and fans alike. Get ready, because the Robocop era is far from over, and this nuclear knockout machine is only just getting started. What do you think about Roberto Robocop Soldic and his journey in MMA? Do you think he'll become the next big thing in the sport, or will he continue to reign as one of the hardest hitters to ever step into the cage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about this explosive fighter. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all things MMA and Roberto Soldic's journey. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with more exciting MMA stories.